Typical Tuesday availability. Coach Edsel will not be in attendance today. He and Corey are both attending a pretrial hearing in regards to the appeal of the ethics case. So we will have both defensive coordinator Bill Crocker and offensive coordinator Brett Lashley join us here at the podium. And the only player available today will be David Pindell, who will be our starting quarterback this week. Brian Sherris is out and in the concussion protocol. Jason Thompson is also out. Other issues related to the depth chart, you'll notice Braden Brown is not listed. Braden Brown will not play this week for personal reasons. He did have a death in the family a few weeks ago, and Coach Edsel and he met and felt it would be best for him to spend a little time at home. So he will be going home eventually. John Robinson has returned to the depth chart. His suspension is complete, and I think that about wraps it up. I would remind you all it's election day, so please get out and vote. You can complain all you want. You can't complain if you don't vote, okay? And we'll have Coach Crocker. Thanks.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Coach.
Good. Just I'll just start. Obviously, defense. We've had our ups and downs this season. I think the biggest thing we're trying to get over, and you see where we struggle the most, is number one, the number of big plays that we give up, and that's something each week we try to limit. And it is hard in this league, especially with the offenses that we face on a week-to-week basis. So that's something we try to do. And if you look at the root of that, I think, as you guys have seen, is our tackling vastly needs to improve. And I think if we can make in that game we had about 28 missed tackles and almost 300 yards of extra yardage after missed tackles. So obviously that's something we need to clean up. The other point that we need to do is take care of what we can take care of, and that's get ourselves off the field on third down a lot more efficiently than we are right now. So, I think those are the two biggest things. But, there is some growth that we see, especially some of the younger players that are getting the game experience as we move along throughout the course of the season. So that's kind of where we see things right now as we move along here towards the back half of the season. So I'll be free to take any questions that you guys may have.
Billy, missed tackles didn't seem to be that big of a problem until the last couple of weeks. Is there anything you can pin that on? Yeah,
I think if you look at some of the teams that we played, starting probably with the Memphis game to the Missouri game, to last week, and the kind of athlete that you see on the field that we're going against, in space, there are a lot of instances where we get exposed in some one-on-one situations. And during the season, you're not going to work on tackling in terms of live tackling. And the only way you get better at tackling is by actually doing it. And obviously we do as many drills as we can to try to improve on that stuff. And the thing we try to emphasize to our guys is this: be aggressive when you tackle. And when you see our guys miss tackles, you see them stop their feet and they stop their momentum. And once our guys stop their feet, they're done. They're done. So we got to just be aggressive, keep our momentum going forward, and just take our shot on the tackle. And we even teach sometimes, hey, if you miss, you miss. But if you miss with the proper leverage and you miss going full speed and take your shot, that's a good miss. And then we got guys running to the football. Right now, we're not getting that done.
How many missed tackles would your team average in a normal? Would be a good week for you?
In the past,
yeah.
If we hit double digits, that would be good. So I'd say somewhere in the 9 to 10 range is something we were always shooting for, and we're way too many right now.
And what were you the previous week?
We were in the 20s, 25, yeah. I guess the previous against Missouri. Yeah.
Has it been a bigger adjustment than you thought with the new system for the players?
Yeah, it has, because you're trying to keep things simple, especially with the number of young guys we have playing on the back end, trying to keep things simple as we can for those guys, because again, you're facing a lot of offenses who are not just very talented, they go fast. And our guys got to be able to process. And on the flip side of that, we're not probably talented enough right now to stay in one thing against the teams that we're seeing. So we're going to have to do multiple things, but it's a double-edged sword a little bit. Are we good enough to handle all that stuff and at the same time get lined up and execute?
What were your expectations for the production of your pass defense coming into the season?
I knew it was going to be a little bit of a rough road with the number of new faces that were going to be back there, and again, coupled with the quarterbacks and the passing attacks, that we've seen, you know what I mean? But again, it's obviously not good. But if we make some tackles where we need to make some tackles, I mean, honestly, in the last 2 weeks, there hasn't been a ton of balls over our heads. It's been some of the quick throws that are 5 or 10 yard throws that have turned into 30-yard gains because, we've missed some tackles. And that's the stuff we can control, and we really got to get that fixed.
Given where you guys sit, is it daunting to see the highest scoring team in the country on the
No.
schedule?
I mean, honestly, it is what it is. I'm not happy where we are, but we're not changing it. And we know what this league is week in, week out. You know what I mean? And I mean, the only way to see it is, hey, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to, the number 13th team in the country right now, I think in the latest AP poll, and the number 1 scoring offense in the nation. Okay, well, guess what? The game's coming on Saturday, so we got to play it, and we're going to play it, and we got to see that as an opportunity to say, hey, what can we do? Can we improve from week to week? And then that's the goal, especially with some of the young guys that we're rolling with.
What makes their quarterback so good?
He's very smart. He knows. I mean, he's completing over 70% of his passes, so he knows where to go with the football. If you watch, and I said to the guys this morning, you watched them last year. I watched almost all their games last year versus all their games this year. I've never seen an offense improve the way in one season the way this offense has. Because they were not a very good offense last year, and this year they're the best in the country statistically. So it's I think the most important thing about him is he knows where to go with the football. He makes very good decisions, and he can hurt you with his legs. And he has benefited greatly. Versus, and one, he's more seasoned than he was a year ago. Obviously, he got his lumps last year as a freshman, but he has a tremendously talented supporting cast around him. The running backs, the receivers, the tight ends.
Have you seen progress? The numbers I know are pretty scary, but have you seen progress since the beginning of the
We
season?
have. You know what I mean? And the thing I think the biggest thing is, and this I think you guys have seen this throughout the course of the season, it's been okay. There's one good quarter. All right, there's 2 good quarters. You know what I mean? We have yet to really been able to sustain a 4-quarter, performance, and that's the biggest thing we try to. And when you got young guys, you're going to have that lapse, but we got to get there on a consistent basis and say, okay, there's a good quarter. There's a second quarter. Even against South Florida, talented team. Going into halftime, you're like, okay, they got short field coming out the gate. Start the game, we go 3 and out, stop them, and hey, there you go. We got a little confidence going, and then. Then you get to the 3rd quarter and the wheels fall off. And then obviously we missed those 2 tackles on the 95-yard touchdown. And then, once it starts to go that way a little bit, we can't let it snowball on us.
How is Milton different from Flowers?
Obviously, Flowers just with his legs he's a difference maker. And while Milton can hurt you with his legs, it's not quite Flowers. You know what I mean? And but he does a really good job of getting the ball out of his hand quickly and getting it to his playmakers.
Killins might be the fastest running back in the country. Just your thoughts on what he brings to that offense?
Speed. he's a home run every time he touches the football. I mean, if you guys got put on a Navy, you saw him turn that corner against Navy, and it was, you know what I mean. So you got to have edges, you got to be gap sound, and we got to vice him and bottle him up. And if we take a shot with our tackles, we got to take it with proper leverage to get it back to our help.
You've coached some pretty good defenses in the past that don't know it. So how tough is it for you personally just to deal with? I mean, you knew you were going to have some growing pains, but just to deal with this and giving up big plays.
It's it's frustrating for sure. You know what I mean? I think myself, all the coaches on our side of the ball, the players are. You know what I mean? And if they're not, then there's something wrong. So yeah, it's frustrating to deal with, but. You're not going to put your head in the sand and say it's going to magically disappear. We got to, figure out ways to get our guys in the right positions to make the plays, and also get the guys in the right positions, which has been a work in progress for us throughout the entire season so far.
What about the pass rush? What's the key to improving that?
To me, pass rush is all want to and desire. You know what I mean? I think all the guys that we have rushing the quarterback, we've seen them be successful doing it. And they just got to continue to go with it and, execute it and just go hard. Because to me, it's, you're going to rush 4, they're going to block with 6 probably, so they got enough, So, we got to be able to just execute and it's effort and want to really desire to try to get to that quarterback.
Billy, Randy said a couple of times, I think, first after the Memphis loss, that look, this is the system we've chosen for the long haul. It
Yep.
doesn't look very good right now because we don't have the personnel.
Yep.
Would you address that, the personnel, and do you see some of the younger guys getting all this experience now becoming the personnel you need over the next
I'd agree. I'd agree 100% with Coach. You know, we're not, you know, where we are. You know what I mean? It's, you know, you got some guys, you know, at linebacker. Junior's a true linebacker. You know what I mean? You know, Vontae, you know, he's working his butt off and he's learning how to still become a true linebacker. He's played out of the box his entire career. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's guys like that we're still working forward to get there. You know, in our up front, you know, Cole and Luke are battling and they're playing hard. You know, but, you know, from a 4-eye standpoint, the technique we use, obviously we're looking for some bigger body types and things like that. You know, those guys are working hard and doing what they can. You know what I mean? But, you know, I think guys like, you know, Darian Beavers, you know, we're teaching him how to become a linebacker. You know what I mean? He was a safety coming out of high school. You know what I mean? So, and secondary, you know, at safety especially, you got those young faces who, you know, are still learning, one, how to play football, doing it at a fast tempo and doing it against some really good competition. So yeah, we're still going to be in the work of progress of getting the right pieces in place to fit what we're trying to do.
Are you encouraged by the recruiting and, you know, that you're going to be bringing in some pieces? That
Absolutely, yeah. So far in this, you know, even in some of the freshman class that we currently have here that are redshirting, and then, you know, guys that, you know, are you know, we're working on for this incoming class and the 2019s and 2020s as well. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a continuous process as we move along.
Coach Etzel talked about Marche Terry and he liked what he saw at the last game. Can you run me through kind of what?
Yeah, I think what you see with Marche is he was much more aggressive. You saw him a couple times. Now he missed a couple tackles and they were battles, but you also saw him be a little bit more aggressive.